نعیم نعمت در نعیم فانی مال و جسد چون همی سوزند عامه از حسد پادشاهان بین که لشکر می کشند از حسد خویشان خود را می کشند این زنانی که از همه مشفق‌ترند از حسد و زر خود را می‌خورند تا که مردانی که خود سنگین دلند از حسد تا در کدام منزلند. 110 from the essence of Rumi on the Pioneer's Library. Jealousy is dangerous because of the carnal self, malu jasad, carnal self. People envy each other, while a lover of divine looks at them with the sympathy of a mother who let her babies play with their toys until they go to sleep or feel hungry. It is the love of the divine that burns jealousy, the fruit of ego, to ashes. This is what the Quran and the Bible say about jealousy. Or do they envy mankind for what God hath given them of His bounty? Quran 4:54. When the Jews saw the crowds, they were filled with jealousy. The Bible, Act 13/45. It was jealousy that deprived Jews of the eternal life. Rumi recommends that we change jealousy to love. It is because of the pleasure of their physical bodies and mortal riches that the people, the common folk, burn in the fire of jealousy. Notice that kings wage wars and kill their own kins out of jealousy. Women who are kinder than all other creatures, when they happen to be fellow wives, fight with each other because of jealousy. If this is the case with women, then what degree of jealousy will stone-hearted men possess? With this theme from the essence of Rumi's Mechidtv, we enter into chapter 10, a mock engagement. Nosago, Bakulo, Ajego, everybody from the Hazara communities around the world, you saw that a father had to make a decision, that Colonel Farad Shah is on his way with his dogs and he has to make a decision of what to do in response because he wants Gul Begum. He wants the princess of the Hazara. What should he do? That results into sending the mother-in-law of the Vizier down to the lower village to make a mock engagement with Jan Muhammad, who had previously asked and they refused. The old lady returned from her mission with a very mixed feelings. She had been successful, but she was not altogether pleased with her success. That is not a house to send Gul Begum to. These people are not of our class at all. They have made their money by trading and don't know how to live. قند شکر جان و جگر ای چگر ما از تو پرسان کردم از برنامه پیش ما گفتم امو گبی که ما استمیزه که یک کسی که روپی پیدا کرده از خاطری یگو کاربار یگو سیچویشن یگو واقعه ضرورینیه که او بفهمه که ما هم حق زندگی را میدم درم هم I know how to live. That's why the importance of living. Jeene ki ahamiyat. Mother, her son-in-law answered, from many an outsider's point of view, they have a better house than we have. We are comfortable enough, and I would not change my home for any man's. But after all, what is it? There are those who would say it was but a well-fitted cave. Now Muhammad Jan has a house, all properly built and arranged. He is no man's servant, and neither was his father before him. You will, of course, do as you please. The old lady replied mildly. It was not her place to raise objections. I would not give Gul Begum in marriage to Muhammad Jan. Ghulam Hussain continued conciliatingly. She is only going there to be out of danger during the time of difficulty. And the man is to be well rewarded for his trouble. What did he think of the gun? Did he seem satisfied? He said it was a good one and would serve him well to shoot his enemies with. The old woman replied, yes, that's what it is for. That gun was sent to serve a double purpose. It is to purchase a place of security for Gul Begum and help her guardian to protect her. But it has a wider use than that, mother. It is to protect our country from our foes. نصرف کی گل بیگم ده پناه زیگان باشه ده خدمتی ملت ملک من باشه. Look at it in that light. Don't you think this arrangement is good? The plan is good enough, the old lady answered. I'm not finding fault with that. Manam plan to kutam kharabi dara. It's the man himself I don't like. Why? What's the matter with him? Her son-in-law asked, rather irritated by her persistence. I knew his father well. Had I not had other plans for Gul Begum, I might have even given her in marriage to this son. I have not seen him much of late, but the lad's a good lad. You may depend on that. He may be, the old lady said quietly. It's not for me to judge, but if God made him a good man, it's pity he did not give him a better face. Ghulam Hussain laughed aloud. He had nothing of the usual Hazara giggle about him. Ah, there we have it, mother, he said gaily. The lad is ugly and has not found favor in your women's eyes, poor lad. He's indeed unfortunate. He had no looks enough to secure him a good wife, or indeed apparently to give him credit for a good character. The old lady was not too well pleased. She felt she was being laughed at. So she said nothing more. But looked unconvinced. Moreover, it was not as though the girl were to be given in marriage. She was only going on a visit. But she did not like this plan of naming a girl on a man she was not intended to marry. It was against all custom, and gave the man and his family an authority over her niece that was quite beyond their social position. But her son-in-law was a strange man with quite unusual notions, and there was no use opposing him and no use talking. It was his business too, not hers. After all, the girl was his to do what he chose with. But Ghulam Hussein's difficulties were by no means all over when he had succeeded in silencing the old lady. Gul Begum had not been brought up as an ordinary Hazara girl. She had ideas of her own. When the scheme was unfolded to her, she most evidently did not approve. What? Atai, what are you doing? Let me stay here, father, with you, she pleaded piteously. Please. Don't send me away. If you can't protect me from this man, who can? Nothing but marriage. Or a supposed marriage. Such as this can protect you from this monster. Her father said quietly, be reasonable, my flower. I do not send you from me willingly. You know that, don't you, Janiman? You know the story your grandmother told you about those dogs? They are this very man's dogs. There is had I sent him a direct refusal, we should have had those brutes here as his next messengers. اگر مو انکار میکردم درست روی بریدی روز روی پیش قصید امروز تا امروز هم داود مساگا مور تدپات کرده بود. He said as much in his letter to your uncle, and half our children would have been torn to pieces and mangled by them. It is so all over the country. We are being exasperated into war by this tyrant. It is unavoidable. Father, that may be so, but what is the use of men if they are afraid of a few dogs, or wolves, or even tigers, or any animal? You have rifles. You can shoot. It would be a benefit to the whole countryside if you could rid it of those brutes. I wish we could shoot or trap or by any possible means destroy them, her father said thoughtfully. But how? You must remember, these are not wild jungle beasts. Acting on their own instincts and the laws of nature. Which we know. They are crossbred brutes. Unnatural. Completely غير طبيعي. Matching. In every way, and trained to work destruction in the plan and on the order of a man as unnatural as themselves. وصايب شام on مرقم غير فطري. أصلاً إنسان نيا. أمترك ينا حيوان نيا. They come, one knows not whence, nor at what hour. No clatter of horses' feet, no bullet whizzing through the air announces their advent. يرقم ونمينغر نيكي أصبع صدايا أصبع ما تفانغ باري مش هدراو. دي تير بارانو دزي آمدني سواران نا ينا دي غرقم ما يعيد خبرنا مشيتو كساقا عملا وارشو. They may come at cock's crow, سري سبقا كي مرغ بانگ ميزنا مرغ, or at noontide نسبي شاوما مدى ميتنا, or at milking time. And we can know nothing of them till they are on us. It has always been so, wherever they have been sent. But our men are gathering on the hills. You will hear them all to arms and the shots from their rifles soon enough. We shall have to go and meet our foes I shall not even be here to protect you. It is only as a married woman that you will be safe from outrage. یعنی میگه رامنده که تو شویی که ده خانه شویی من برو پشت کار خو چون که اینجا کس مرد منی سرکارانه مورد چند روز بعد. Father, that is not necessarily so, she said, pleading her cause with all the arts that she knew would appeal to her father. When these Afghans and Turks came harrying our country, they are not particular as to whether it is a wife or a maid they carry off. اینا که حمله‌آور مایا که مبرخ و نمگه که من زنج خاتو بردم یا کنیز بردم. What do they care, these savages? It's all one to them. They are but little better than kafirs when it comes to pillaging. There you are both wrong and right, her father said quite patiently, stroking her gleaming black hair lovingly. There are bad men among every people, Mohammedan as well as others. But the bulk of them have some conscience. And besides, that is hardly the question. I am saving you from their colonel by this pretended marriage, and not from the people generally. A thorough libertine is this Farad Shah. And if he hears you have already become the property of some other men and have perhaps learned to bask in the sunshine of your husband's smiles and favors, he will commence bullying elsewhere. It is not you he wants, dear child. He wants your uncle's niece to دختر براری میری از ری, the pride of our nation. He would fain stir up all our hatred, our most undying passions, laying violent hands on all we hold most precious, by destroying our darling's chance of lawful and happy marriage. ومیخواه که نمیجدم خودی میری از ری د خانه‌ش غم بنداز خوشی بنداز که هرچی که تنفر است تمرکز پیدا کنه که ما یعنی اما احساساتی خیلی عمیق مرا خیلی از دل مکسته اونا را بلش دستاندازی کنه. He knows we should resent it if we are men at all. او خبر داره که کار کشون اگر ما مرد هستیم ما باز قرار نمیشیم. That is the meaning of this demand of his. یعنی اصل معنی ازی که مورد سر احساسات بیره اینقدر مورد پر از نفرت و کینه کنه که بعد باز موقع چون دست احساسات خود دادی بعد آسانه هم کنترل کدویش هم کشتویش هم گنگس کدویش هم تدبات کدویش. He is not in want of wives. He has dozens. He only wants to insult us, and drive us into a war, which he is pleased to call rebellion. That he may treat us as rebels and make us slaves. Now, my sweet child, my comforter, be reasonable. I would keep you with me if I could. But at this moment, I am powerless. The call to arms, I may tell you secretly, has gone forth. In a week or two, none worthy of the name of patriot will be found among these hills. کسی که محب وطن مگه خود خورا، کسی که وطن خورا خوش داره، او رو بس تو دزی کوهستانه نمیگرنی و دم مخامخ. As the wife or affianced wife of Muhammad Jan, the obscure, the peasant, you will be unnoticed by and unknown. As Gulbegum, my daughter, the Hazara beauty, in your own home, you are exposed to every danger. Try to understand my difficulty and to help me overcome. I do not ask you to wed this man. I have had other and very different plans for you. But try and fall in with my views, please. You need not associate with these people over much. And I will pay them well for housing and feeding you so that you need not work for them. You have only to accept their service gracefully and graciously. Remember that you are my daughter and can command whatever reward it may be in my powers to give to those who serve you well. جانمان ونجي برو خدمات مشي ونجي قرار أرام اكترافا مستي كموي زي روي قد جانغ روي بريستم. Father, I will obey you, the girl said, weeping quietly. I will do the little I can to set your mind at ease. But oh, it is very hard to go among those strangers. Why was I not a boy? Or why can you not treat me as a boy and let me go out and fight with you and my uncle? In the old days, Father, women did these things. Why not today? مو همیشه قد مرد خوش شانه بشانه جنگ کردی همیشه حالی چرا نمیتونی؟ I am as strong as many a man and hardy too. Yes, child, he said quietly, and stronger. زورآورتری بچیم تو. Prove that you are strong enough to wait and watch. من از زوکت زور یعنی میخوای که تو انتظار بیتنی، صبر بیتنی، حوصله بیتنی. یعنی زور خودت من نشان بدی. That is far harder to be a brave, active woman like you than the rush and excitement of war and strife. اونجا ما تور میخوایم که زور خود نشان بدی بچیم ندازی بیتنا و فساد جنگ. Are you coming to prepare your things to accompany your grandmother tomorrow morning, or does your father expect me to do it all for you? Halima asked. Interrupting the tender leave-taking between her husband and her daughter. Okay, Baba. It is late, Hussain said sadly. Gulbegum can stay the night with me. She may not see me again for many months. I have got my clothes ready to start anywhere at any time, mother. The girl added hurriedly, they are fastened in a cloth in the recess. I have nothing to do but send them. Are you going to take all those clothes with you? Her mother asked peevishly. Are you then going to remain permanently at this peasant's, Muhammad Jan's? Or do you wish to show his women that Ghulam Hussain has so much more money than he knows what to do with? یا میخوای نشان بدین غلام حسین وقت پیسه داره که ایدنا مفهمه چیکار کنه خزیق سکالا خریده بریز تو یه چیز نمایش برده رهی تو that he gives his daughter more clothes than she knows how to wear. That's just the way to do if you want your father to pay away everything he possesses to these people in return for the extraordinary favors he's asking them, huh? تمام زندگی خربیدی که گناه ای کار بری خدمت استور کنه. Let her take such clothes as she has, Ghulam Hussain replied, answering instead of his daughter. She may need them all, and they will be at least as safe as there. خب نگاه کردنی خو اینجام جای امن نیه. خب بالکالای خرم ببره. I can spare a pony to carry the bundle and her bedding beside her grandmother's pony and her own. My daughter must not arrive at these people's house as a beggar. What are you thinking of, wife? الما مثل فقيرور ريكرم دختر خدا خانزنا خيرك خش باش برقط خو. I'm thinking there won't be much left when this accursed war is over. إلا نتيجة جنگ خلاص نما خبوهم كي چیز نخاد من دینجی. The poor man said, half sobbing, everything is always leaving the house. يزي خانه فقط چیزا مورا. It is seldom I ever see anything come in. And yet we manage to live and have still something left, her husband said, trying to be gay, though he had seldom felt so broken down and so sad. Go to your bed, my wife, and don't you trouble about clothes and stores. I will see that they are provided. You look after your cooking and your children. That is your department. Never mind about the rest. Leave them to me. तुम ज़वस्तोर खानर से गुश्तु बाशा ज़वस्तोर गुश्तु बाशा दिगाश बिल कारज़ मैं बोर खाउक्तु. And am I not looking after my child when I come to see what Gul Begum needs for her journey? Is she not one of my children? You seem to think that she's only yours, eh? I am his special one, the girl said, smiling and nestling into her father's side. I am your pet, am I not, father? His only answer was to press her closer to him. You won't forget me, Johnnyman, will you? He said jealously. These strangers won't turn your heart away from your old father. بچه‌م تو پرموشت ما خبرم تو قضیه بیگانه ها کی رفتی تمام از یاد تمارا. These strangers, the girl said proudly, I shall not forget that they are peasants. How could they, or anyone, she added more gently, estrange my thoughts from you, Atay? Far more likely you will forget me. اصل قصه است که تو خود خواهد ما رو پرموشت کنی. And will not remember that you have a daughter who is watching and waiting every hour for you. Will you think of that when shots are flying and knives are flashing and say to yourself, I have a daughter? She would break her heart if I were killed. I am all she has in the world to love and care for. Will you say that, father? Yes, Gul Begum, I will. I have a daughter and she is young and fair and has a long life to live. And she must live in freedom and in honor and in peace and comfort. And mine is the arm that must strike for her. That is what I shall say and think, my darling. You would not have me a coward, would you? No, father, no. It's because you're so brave and grand and such a leader among the people that I love and revere you so much. But father, a man can be prudent as well as brave. Will you promise to be prudent? شجاعت دجای خو مرد باید شجاع باشه مگر مرد باید عاقل هم باشه نه تو بعدمونی که تو عقل خوره دکار بیری. It's my duty to be so where I can, he said. Our country cannot afford to lose a soldier. still less a leader. You may depend on my prudence, child. ما خود کشته دنیم نه یک نفر مویشره ضرر رسیدنیم, child. And so they sat and talked far into the night, and dawn found them still sitting together. تا سحر امتى نشسته پال یک دیگه, collapsed in each other's arms, the بغل یک دیگه, but they were asleep. Nosugo and Baklo, hopefully you're watching this program on your YouTube or Facebook screen, smartphone, and I hope that the grandmothers and grandfathers, particularly in Australia, there will be lots of grandfathers, a lot of Baklo, who would be well suited to explain these stories in more details to the Nosugo who have no idea about their own history. So this chapter 10 was a mock engagement in order for Gul Begum to be protected from the war that is being anticipated due to the threat posed by Farhad Shah, the Afghan monster. And once the war is imposed upon you, my dear Hazara pioneer legacy holders, the Hazara pioneers, regeneration, wherever you may be, that's why it is said that it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Haikido Nawroz Zawar. Catch up later.